Now here you see in front of you again we are dealing with the same chapter, biomolecules, and in our last class we had done the disaccharides and today we will be dealing with polysaccharides. Now if you see polysaccharide are basically the carbohydrates that we will be dealing today. So polysaccharide, they are actually the poly, that means many number of glucose molecule together forms a polysaccharide. Saccharide, we had already dealt with the word earlier. This saccharide basically is sugar, that means poly, numerous sugar molecules attached to it. That means n number of C6 H12 O6. Okay. Now here you see this is a mono unit. Okay, so this mono unit of sugar, if they are having, we call it as hemopolysaccharide. That means that is denoted in the form of cellulose. But sometimes, with the glucose molecule, some iron, magnesium or any other or inorganic molecules, if they attach to it, we call it as a hemicellulose. Okay, cellulose and hemicellulose. Okay, now on the base, this is on the basis of unit, okay, or structure. Now functional wise, they are classified into two. One is storage polysaccharide. Storage polysaccharide means what? Glucose when not in use can be stored in the body in the form of a starch. Okay, so when not required, the excess glucose is stored in starch, and when required, again this starch is again hydrolyzed back to glucose. Okay, now the structural polysaccharide includes cellulose. So this cellulose portion we will deal it the next day, but today we will be dealing with starch. Okay, now you see starch, you see we say that this is a monopolysaccharide. That means monopolysaccharide, basically the saccharide molecule used here is glucose. Now this starch has been divided into two categories. One is amylose and another one is amylopectin. Okay, now molecular wise, if you see this amylose, okay, the weight is 200 to 2000. Okay, and it has got 1,4 glycosidic bond, and here it is 1,6 glycosidic bond. Okay, it is 1,4 and 1,6. Okay, this is the glycosidic bond. Now, if we take up amylose, we see here, if you can see, here we have two glucose molecule. See, this is the oxygen molecule here. So simple, it is linked with the first molecule and the fourth molecule here. So together they form a bond. So we have 1,4 glycosidic bond. So since the bond, they form linear structure, so they exhibit a linear structure in a straight line, but you see they are not present in a single line, but they are present in this form of a coil. See, like a spring, it is a coil like that. So this is the linear structure that is present. Now if we take up amylocellulose, I said earlier that it has got 1,6 glycosidic bond. So this 1 and 6 portion, for that they have to align like this, not straight. One has to be there. You see, here is a 1 position and the 6th position like that. So this structure literally gets into a branch structure. That means it is a far complicated one. See, it first this spring-like structure here it is, and then they have like this also vertical structure. So together it is a very branched structure. Now you see the starch test. We know that we get a blue-black color when treated with iodine. So this gives the starch test. definite starch test, and this 1:3 ratio, these amylose and amylopectin is present in starch as a whole. Okay, this starch, amylose and amylopectin, is present in 1:3, and is amylose is responsible for the blue-green color of the starch test. Okay, now see the structural. Now, how is this starch stored in the body of any plant or fruits like that? How is it stored? So basically they are stored in the form of grains, you know. For example, if you take if you cut potato pieces, if you soak it in water for a few times and then you drain the water, so at the bottom of the tumbler you will find a white deposit. So that white deposit is basically the grain. You can see the starch grain, but you know the starch grain happens in simple grain and compound grain. See, simple grain, you have this concentric ring structure. Concentric ring structure, okay, that is for the simple grain. And for the compound grain, you see, first you have a simple ring structure. From here again you have a ring structure, and here again you have a ring structure over there. So it becomes a very complicated one. So this is called a simple hilum. This ring is called the hilum, and this is a complicated hilum structure here. Okay. So okay. Now another thing is starch. It is made up of glucose. Okay. So since the starch is made up of glucose, the starch has to get converted into, see, starch, glucose has to get converted into sucrose and then later converted into starch. Why? Because you cannot store glucose. You cannot store glucose because you see it is highly reactive. Glucose is very highly reactive, and so it has to get converted into sucrose. And see, in our last class we have done the sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. So if it is a non-reducing sugar, it is less reactive or not reactive at all, so it can be stored there. Now another thing, you know, this glycosidic bond. This glycosidic bond every time liberates water. Now for example, 100 glycosidic bonds are formed. So we have 99 water molecule, loss of 99 water molecule. So no plant will like to lose this 99 molecules. So that is the reason. And you know, all the enzymes, they form hydrolytic bond. So they need water for it. So this is the reason why glucose is converted into sucrose and then stored as starch, and glucose is not a storage material. So in my next class we will be dealing with structural polysaccharide, that is cellulose.